Let's do a really great hip workout, focusing on the glutes and the lateral aspect of the hip. We're going to hit it starting with a translation from the ladder barrel onto the reformer. So you're going to need a couple tools here today. So make sure you have a set of ankle weights. If you don't, you can do this without ankle weights. And you want to make sure you have the long box and an arc. You can use, I'll show you this one. This is the balanced body arc. You can use the balanced body arc. However, my preference is the Hooked on Pilates Mini Max arc, which is on the floor there, because for two reasons. One, it's soft. And if you're on here and your hips are right at this area on a hard surface, it's not comfortable, especially if you're doing ankle weights. So if you have no other choice, absolutely use this. But my preference is the Hooked on Pilates Mini Max. And if you don't have one, get one. They're so versatile. You'll see I use it a lot in my workouts, and it's just limitless what you can do with it. Get a set of ankle weights if you have them. Let me put them on first. If you don't have the setup and you want to do the class, but you do have a ladder barrel close to your reformer or next to your reformer, use the ladder barrel for the first portion and then hop on the reformer. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is make sure you don't trip on the ropes. So let's pull the ropes down. I'm going to make sure that the ropes are on the ground. So I unpost my straps, drop them down, and hook them over the swivel pulleys. I'm going to place my headrest down just so it's not in the way. When you're getting on, just make sure that you secure your hips and the weight of your body before getting on. Otherwise, the arc will slide. So I'm going to kind of get my body weight on. I want to make sure I'm fairly far back to the edge because I want to be able to do full range of hip motion. I'm on the clinical reformer, so it's a little higher. You may need to make a few modifications and adjustments. I'm going to choose an underhand shoulder distance apart so I can kind of press my arms into the side edge or the top edge, whichever is comfortable for you. And there's going to be a traction on the spine when we rest, so we're going to want to really make sure we pull ourselves on. So I'm going to start with the legs down, organize my upper body, core is in, glutes are engaged, and I'm going to start with just simple leg raises. Nice basic hip extension. My cue is to reach the foot to the risers as opposed to the leg to the ceiling. I want to do as much as I can to keep it out of my lower back. And that's why I really like this setup for this series. In the reformer group classes, to have a ladder barrel at each reformer, it's quite a bit of an investment, and time or space takes up a lot of space. So this allows you to do a lot of the ladder barrel exercises using the long box and the arc. So engage, and we're going to do double legs, following that same concept and that cue of reaching the toes back, pulling yourself on. 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Hold it up there, and little swim kicks. Make sure the swim kicks comes from the glute. Keep it out of your back. Keep your spine as long as you can, and keep that pull of your arms. It's a really great challenge for your upper body, and rest, because it's like you're holding a chin up static. Go ahead and hug the box, drop down, and let's get going again. Underhand, pull yourself up, activate your glutes. Now we're going to go up and over the frame. So bring it up and over and back up and together for 5, 4, 3, 2 more, 1, and let's do up and down for 5 wide, 4, 3, 2, 1, together, up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower your feet down, slide yourself off, walk yourself back, and stretch, flexing from the hips. If the barrel is too high for you or the setup is go ahead and drop your hands down to the frame. Shift your hips side to side. Get that nice stretch on the hamstrings and the back. And let's get back on. We're going to start with our feet down. We're going to simply do basic hamstring curls. So I can feel right where my knees are. I'm at the pegs, the post, so I'm going to lift myself up a little higher. And simple hamstring curls. Plantar flex as you lower, dorsiflex as you raise. Two more. Now hold it up there and just simple hip presses up, alternating sides. Pressing the opposite knee into the box edge to stabilize the hips. Last one, extend down and curl for 5 more. 4, 3, 2, finishing with the feet up, turn them out, knees wide, and frog presses for 5, 4, 3, 2, hold the last one up, and pulse up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down, stretch. I'm going to grab the front. If you can grab the side as well, depending on your arm length, and just hold a traction and a stretch. I'm going to keep this hold, and I'm going to simply do leg lifts, alternating, reaching that toe back. If you can't reach the frame, lower down and stretch. Keep your hands on the foot bar. Let's go back to the foot bar. Extend our spine up. Go from a lower straight leg position, bring it up to a frog and back down. Frog, position, and back down. I'm touching my heels together, then I'm lowering and widening them to the width of the frame for 2 more. And 1. Hold it up there, and we're going to go out, back to the frog. Out, back to the frog. For 3, 2, last one, hold it together and press up. 5, 4, 3, 2, finish the last one, out, and then rest. Go ahead and reach to a stretch and hold. So if you have the soft foam arc, you'll understand how comfortable it is. If you need to take time off of a hard arc, if you're on a regular arc, or you can pad the edge for this series if you need to, or after the video, go to hookedonpilates.com and order your mini max. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 leg lifts wide. So let's get organized. Hands back on the bar. Abs in, glutes engaged. 5 wide. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up. In and out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Rest for 10 seconds. We'll do that one more time. And these are 5-pound ankle weights. So they're quite fun. Let's lift up again. Let's do that series one more. 5 wide. 4, 3, 2, hold it up, together and out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down together and rest, stretch. Now we're going to combine those movements in a little flow. So we're going to start with our feet together, go to a frog, press up, extend out, lower wide, and then back in. Get yourself set up. I'm going to grab a towel. My hands are really wet. Give me a second. All right, I think we're good. All right, in position. Legs are going to start down, hugging that barrel, pulling with our arms. Let's go ahead and bend our knees. Frog press up, hold it up, extend out, lower down wide. Lift up wide, back together, frog down, extend legs. 4 more. Bend to a frog, press up, stay high, extend and lower. Raise together and down. 3 more. Up, out, down, up together, and back down. Curl up, press up, hold high, out, lower down, up. I think I just added an extra lower down. We're going to take that out. Sorry about that. Curl press, out, in, out, down, up, together. I keep adding stuff on, but it's harder that way. So let's do that again. Curl, press, out, together, out, down, up, together, and lower. 1 more. Mixing it up a bit, apparently. Let's curl, press it up, out. Let's go together and then out and then down, up, together, and in. Yeah, I think I like that. So you can kind of play around the choreography. Let's go ahead and stretch. If you have ADD like I do, you're getting them all those components, but mix them up a bit. So play around the choreography, find what you like best. Shift your hips side to side. Stretch the QL as you shift to the right. Lower back and QL to the left. Let's go ahead and walk a little further down. Walk your heels back. And then holding onto the frame, bend your elbows and stretch, drop your head. Keep those core activated. Press up with your hands. 3 more. Abs are in, flex from the hips, and then finish with the lower back. Press up. 2 more. Bend elbows, flex at hips, and then lower down. 1 more. Bend elbows, flex at hips, lower down, and let's head back up. Last series before we go into some side lying on these guys. So hop back up, back down. Let me wipe this bar. Sweaty hands today. All right, so I'm gonna get myself secure. I'm gonna lower down. I'm gonna get myself adjusted. Spine is extended, glutes are on, abs are on. And let's raise up and hold for 5, 4, stay adjusted, organize, lower down, up and down, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, hold for 5, 4, reach those toes away, and down, up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, hold for 5, in and out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold it out for 5, 4, and lower. Rest for 2 seconds, 10 seconds, sorry. Raise and lower wide for 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold it up, 5, 4, 3, together. I couldn't last the 5. Whew. All right, so come on down. You can do as many as you can take on that one. I aimed for 5, made it for 3. And that's just because even though I was reaching my legs out, I still felt my lower back just because I have a spine injury. All right, so let's hop on the side. One leg in front, one leg in back. Lengthen your waist over. If you have the ability to hug your forearm against this, you can do that. If you have the infinity foot bar, you can hold on wide or simply grab it underhand, bend the elbow, and then stretch the top arm. Make sure the arm is on. Be sure you're centered on this. And let's go ahead and lower both legs down. Find your length. Set your spine. Abs are in. Top leg up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it up. Lift and lower the bottom leg. 5, 4, 3. Try to keep that top leg up. 2, 1, and stretch. So that one more time. Raise and lower the top leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Raise and lower bottom. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stretch. I'm regretting not grabbing the 3-pound ankle weights. Switch sides. Hop on. Secure yourself. Put your body on long. Get yourself set. Grab the bar, whatever feels comfortable. Lengthen both legs down. Pull. Lengthen your spine. I'm going to lower just a little bit more. Let's lift and lower the top leg for 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it up. Lift the bottom for 5, 4, 3, 2, and lower down. One more time. Lift and lower top. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold it up. Lift and lower bottom. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Slide off and just stretch over the barrel. You can put your feet on the frame and stretch. If it feels good to traction, let your legs go. Go ahead and do that. I have different variations. Let's slowly lower off. Before standing, just hang there for a minute. I don't want to traction and then use our extensors to throw us back up. You can do the series without the box, with the arc on the carriage open, no springs. And I have that, I think I have that series in my book. If not, I'm pretty sure I've videotaped it. So you can search by products and props. And so you just have to search for Minimax, and you can search for no springs too. Just type in no springs in the search bar, and you'll come up with all the exercises. So that's a good one if you want to just keep it simple for some students. All right, let's take a quick little break. I'm going to grab water. Who knew this was going to be so exciting today? So we're done with this. We're going to go into some heavy work. Now, when I talk about heavy spring, choose what's right for you. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing because you may have some men in your class that are used to doing some heavy lifting, and so this is a great way for them to keep their muscle mass or build it up. Let's take the box off, and then we'll get started. Oh, we got to take our ankle weights off. We're done with those. All right, set these aside. I'm going to have to wipe those down. They're sweaty. All right. So I am going to start with 3 red and a blue. We're going to do some heavy standing lunges, some front lunges. And I'm going to do a set heavy and then a set super heavy. So I'll throw the green on as well. Now, what's heavy for me is different for everybody. You have to think about height in relationship to gravity, how tall they are. Also body mass. So I'm 200, so heavier springs to me is going to seem ridiculous for somebody that's 150 because they don't have that body weight or, like I said, that limb height to help assist them. So let's hop on. Let's put right foot high heel in the back, left foot forward. I want to prevent our shin from touching the bar. So let's come up to standing. Make sure the ball of the foot is on and the heel is slightly lower. And we're going to press back, not lower down. Engage the glute, engage your core, and press it back. Now, I'm not a fan of vertical alignment in this. I don't want to be upright, otherwise I'm in my lower back. So push the carriage back for 5, 6, 7. Try to get lower than your knee with your hip. 8, 9, 10. Let's go ahead and switch. Stand up, adjust the foot, engage the glute, engage the core, press that shoulder rest back with the foot for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, get lower, 5, the great calf stretch 2, 4, 3, keep those abs in, 2, 1 more, and come on in. Let's switch, or stay there if you want. If you want to switch to a heavier spring, I'm now doing 3 red or blue and the heavy spring to green. You can go back to right foot back, left foot forward, adjust the foot, come to standing, engage the glute, core, press it back for 5, 10, 9, push, 8, push, 7, push, 6, keeping that shin as vertical as you can, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more, all from the booty. Switch legs, stand up, get organized, and let's push it for 10. Lost my balance. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, real good burn, 1, and rest. Now, if you went up and you want to, let's drop down, shift back, shift your hips side to side, stretch your lateral hip, IT band, and hips. If you did a heavy spring on that one and you want to do the last one back to the original spring tension, or if you did it medium and you want to kick it up a notch for the last set, we're going to do 1 more each. Go ahead and adjust your resistance according, and let's head back up. 1 more set. Get ready. Stand up. Engage the glute. Abs are in, and push it back for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and switch. Back up, organize, and push it back, dropping deep for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more, last one, and come on in and rest. Let's do a quick little sit, a pigeon sit on the carriage. Just sit there for about 30 seconds, get yourself adjusted. I want to make sure that sitting bone is connected, it's sitting down. And I like to think about my right hip having a relationship to my inner left knee, so I'm rotating my pelvis to get a better piriformis lateral hip stretch. And then let's flex forward from the hips, not the spine, getting deeper into that stretch. If your arms can reach the frame, go ahead and place your hands on the frame. Now place one hand on the knee, the other hand in front of the knee, and drop the elbow down, lift your chest. That was heavy. Slowly come up, switch sides. Hold the sitting position as you get adjusted. Flex forward at the hips. Hands on the frame if that feels good. And then next series we're going to do came about from having the tall reformers and not really wanting to get students up so high for standing side splits. Let's go ahead and put one hand on the knee, the other hand on the front of the knee, and the elbow down, lift and twist. So in my Pilates group classroom, I don't have rubber flooring like I do here in the studio. So I've got concrete floors and 18-inch clinical reformers. So slowly come out. So I started doing a lot of variations, side splits on the floor. And I originally started it as an adductor stretch, and I realized when you really engage the standing glute, how it's a 10 times better butt workout on the floor, and you can go a little heavier with the springs. So I'm going to start with 2 red, and then we'll start with the standing foot slightly turned out on the floor, and take the other leg, flex the foot, dorsiflex, slide until the heel is against the shoulder rest. Lengthen up, engage the glute, level your pelvis, and then press out from that hip. We'll do 10 here. There's 2. I'm going to move my foot an inch away. 3. If you need to put the foot bar vertical and hold on for balance, you can do that. 4. Make it all from this lateral hip. Push out. 5. Control the springs in. When you come in, I like to think about axial elongation, lengthening up through the skull. Last 4. 3. And 2. One more. Now, if you're working heavy springs and you feel that you're at your max, stay where you're at. I'm going to add a blue, so I'm going to do the last set. We'll do 2 each side at 2 red and 1 blue, and that's really going to force me to decelerate, bringing it in so the springs don't throw me in like a boomerang. So lengthen up, engage the hip, core is up, press out for 10 and 9. Control it in. Go to your range where you have the strength and flexibility. 6 more. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Control in, legs are shaking, and rest. Now, I'm going to show you the stable variation for your body. I will oftentimes switch back to the lighter spring tension if you're going to crawl that lighter. I want to watch for side bending and lateral shifting in the upper body. So sometimes my students have the strength in the lower extremities to do some heavy resistance, but then they lack the control. So I want to make sure that I'm not continually yelling at them to try to stabilize because they may not have it yet. We're working on that in other classes, but if we have somebody in there doing strength, I want to give them a cue that's going to close the chain and stabilize that side. So when I was doing the heavy springs facing away from you, I like to take my hand and hook it under, activate that lat and pec, and that will help stabilize me. So this is what it looks like. Let's go out for 10. And 9. So do you see how just by having this, it gives me a conscious awareness about my lats and pecs and my abs. 7 more. Let's do a couple more. Good control on their way in, pushing out from the standing leg. Lengthen up to close. 1 more. Slowly control. And let's add extra resistance. Now, if you have the Revo bar and you find that, let's say you're doing 2 red, and it's heavy, but I could take a little bit more. Instead of adding that yellow or blue with the Revo bar, you can just kind of take those red springs and put them on the buttons instead of the hooks. That'll give you a little bit more of a kick without having to go up. All right, so organize, engage the glute, lengthen up, level the pelvis, and press out for 10, 9. Make sure that foot is secure. 8, 7. Gonna need a hip stretch after this. 5 more. 4, 3, 2 more. 1 more. Burning out. And up. Whew. Let's go ahead and plop your butt down. Put your foot bars in a vertical position. I call it 1. Lie on down. Butterfly stretch. Get your heart rate down. Just kind of hold that for a few seconds. All right, let's put your heels on parallel hip distance apart. Engage your glutes, your core, lengthen your spine. Let's press out. I'm going to put my headrest up for comfort. I'm going to put my left outer ankle on my right thigh and then just do a nice hip stretch. I call this a figure 4 stretch. You may call it something different. The object is to keep the hips level. Anchor the hips by plugging the femurs into the back of the socket. And if you or your students have really tight hips, you're going to roll and lift a little bit, but just decrease your range of motion and try to stay anchored in the pelvis as best you can. And if you're really tight in that lateral hip, you might find the knee coming up. So you can lightly guide it away as long as the pelvis stays as level as possible. Engage the glute to press out so we're not overly working the quad. 1 more. Press, hold, switch sides. And yeah, that's tight. Keep those hips anchored. Abs are in, spine is lengthened. I always like to think about that bony knob on the back of my head, sliding across that headrest to keep that nice spine length. 5 more. And 4, 3, and last 2. 1 more. Press and hold, both feet on, close all the way. Legs in tabletop, roll up, and swing around. Yeah, I am sweating. I'm not sure if you guys are sweating or not, but I'm getting the workout, so hopefully you are too. Foot bars back into the neutral position. Now, generally speaking, feet and straps is done on a medium resistance. I want to do heavy today just because we're doing glutes. So I'm going to do 3 red and 1 blue. Now that takes control. That takes you really being able to anchor your hips. If you have really tight hamstrings, or your students do, don't do this heavy. But it really will teach you the understanding of, we're not just lowering and lifting our legs. Every time our legs lower, it's a hip extension, it's a butt exercise. So when you add a little bit extra load, let's put those straps on. I just remember we got to put those guys on. Just make sure that you feel when you're doing heavier spring tension that you're sitting on 2 balls, 2 melons, because your glutes should react to that hip extension. When we're on light resistance, we really can't feel that, and not that there's anything wrong with enjoying feet and straps, but using them as a strength exercise is quite nice. So let's do feet in the long loops. Gives ourselves a second just to kind of settle, starting in a frogged position. So we're going to combine the frog with a lower lift. You can do ankle choreography if you want. I know a lot of people do that. When I do heavy spring tension, sometimes my brain does it, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see what today is like. So get yourself set. Frog forward, raise up, anchor the hips, use your glutes, and down, and then back in. We're just going to do 5 of those. Frog forward, just to get our body a feeling sense. Also, turn out gives us a little bit more range of motion in the hips, so we can kind of get used to those heavier springs. Decrease your raise if you feel your hips are raising or you have too much pressure in your cervical spine. So be mindful of your body. Let's do 1 more. Activate your glutes to lower. 1 more. Now we're going to lower down, put our feet together, knees together, and we're going to lower and lift, feet together, knees together for 5. Activate the glutes to lower down. Same rule applies whether we're facing up or facing down. Toes are going to reach away, so I'm trying to touch the foot bar. And I'm really thinking about my glutes as I lower. So make sure you find spring tension that allows you to stay organized and also get your glutes to fire. 2 more. And last one. I think about my navel lifting as I lower my legs at the same time. Now we're going to widen them to hip distance apart for 5. Noticing the pace is a little slower than normal. That gives us time to really engage the glutes before lowering the legs. Really get that neural response. Engage the glutes and lower. 3 more. 2 more. Last one, keeping them parallel hip distance. Now we're going to go slightly wider than the hips and raise and lower for 5, 4, feeling that great work in the glutes, hamstring stretch as we go up. Last 2. 1 more. Finish down. Let's go even wider. So slightly wider than the frame. Up and down for 5, 4, 3. Last 2. 1 more. Now let's take it back in, slightly wider than the hips, up and down for 5, 4, 3, 2, last 1. Let's go to hip distance apart for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And then together, finishing it with 5 together. Two more. And 1. Let's finish with a butterfly stretch. Bottom of the feet, including all toes, heel and arch touch, knees are wide. Pull your heels down. You can hold on to the straps if it feels good, and just hold that there. So there's a lot of hip extension today, a lot of working the outer hips in different ranges of motion. I think oftentimes we work the hips in extension and not enough in lateral. Let's go ahead and take your feet out, press out, and then loosen that strap up on the heavy springs and then close. Let's go ahead and come up. I'm going to grab one more little swig of water before we cool it down. So as you notice with today's programming, there's some rest built in. I really, when I'm doing hips or any strength, the rest periods are as important as the work. So once you've done this class a few times and you kind of have it in your mind, I want you to pull some things out, play around with it a little bit. Maybe don't do the ankle weights. Maybe do that at the middle or the end of the class, the barrel stuff we did in the beginning. Try some different sequences. There's certain traditional class exercises that I do not do with heavy springs. I think they're inappropriate. I also think that taking gym exercises that are not specifically translated to the reformer for strength and coordination, and just simply using the reformer for a workout with hand weights and stuff can be fine. But I want you, when you watch my educational videos, and like today's video, to start thinking outside the box. Don't just take the exercises from the gym and do them exactly, like standing next to them with dumbbells and stuff like that, or just lunges with dumbbells and then back on the reformer. I want you to start thinking about what it is you're trying to facilitate in those moves and see if you can incorporate it into it, so you aren't just doing a gym workout, because your students are coming from the gym and they're used to doing those. Not that I don't want a transitional exercise to give them familiarity. I've said that many times in other videos, but I want to be creative and I want them to come in and get a Pilates experience as well as a strength training experience that's Pilates style, not just the workout stuff from the gym. So hopefully that made sense. As you watch some of my progressive and athletic, let's go ahead and take all springs off. Press the carriage all the way out. Step in the well. And we're going to simply stretch our hamstring. So I'm going to, I'll start right here. I'm going to start here. I've been doing this a lot lately and I really like it. So if your reformers are shorter, the standard foot bar for a shorter limb length will be okay. If you need to drop the foot bar down a little bit and make some adjustments, please do that. You don't have to sit on the bar. It's just nice. It's a nice little added bonus. So parallel hip distance on the feet. This is how I teach that we're in the bottom of what I call a bend and snap, if you've ever seen that movie. So it really gets our students to get the hips back. And it's funny about that cue is I use it and everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. So if you haven't watched Legally Blonde, watch it and you'll get my cue. So as I do my shoulder movement, I'm flexing from the hips and then the lower back. And then press hands down, doing shoulder extension to return in, shoulder flexion, hip flexion to go out, and then finishing with lumbar flexion. So nice back stretch for all the work we did. Good hip stretch, hamstring stretch all over. And this is closed chained 100%. So hips are closed, they're stable, feet and hands are stable. So this is an exercise that I use oftentimes for my students who I do not want bending forward because they don't have the core strength or hip flexibility. That's why sitting on the bar, stabilizing your hips, helps a lot, as well as pelvic stability, because oftentimes if we're here, we're getting all this movement or we're going forward. So it really teaches them what to feel. So we're going to hold this down and just hold that nice. One at a time, we're going to lift our left foot up, just the ball of the foot, and right. We're getting a nice little stretch on the back of the leg, the posterior calf, the posterior lower limb. Lift and lower for a couple more each. Then just go ahead and stand up, lift and lower the heels, and then the ball of the foot. Stabilizing the carriage with our shoulders, activating our lats, pecs, and abs. 2 more. And this is just kind of a feel-good cool down. Now let's go a little deeper, reach the hips back towards the foot bar as we lower down, press hands, lift our skull up and forward. Sit back in the hips, reaching them towards the foot bar in your mind, dropping down, press hands to come up. And last 3, flexing from the hips as you shift them back. Knees are straight, but they're not locked. And up. And 2 more. Keep those abs engaged. Don't let your tummy drop. And up. And last 1. So we're going to go ahead and lift our heels and then come out to a plank. Drop down, lower ourselves down, and hold ourselves. And if you need to pad because you have a hard surface, you do that and just shift back in your hips and back forward. Now, before you come back, you can do flat foot or curled toes under the bridge of your foot. That kind of helps me stretch my toes and then back. So be sure to pad your knees if you're on concrete. Or sometimes in my reformer studio, I'll sit my mats. I have the nice cushy mats, and I'll set them on the reformer when I know I'm going to do this series. All right, so let's go ahead and come on up. Have a seat. We're going to do one more lateral hip stretch. Put your legs in a figure 4 or a pigeon position. Flex forward to the hips. Stretch. And just hold that there for 30 seconds. If you have the availability to rotate a little bit in your torso, both hands to one side of the frame, lengthening and spiraling up through the skull, and then slowly come up, switch sides. Flex forward at the hip. Get yourself adjusted. If you can take one hand to the opposite frame with spine rotation, go ahead and do that. Really gets a nice deep hip stretch. And then come up. All right, let's do one last hip rock, supine. So let's put a couple springs on. Doesn't matter. I'm going to just put 2 red. I just don't want it moving. And then slide down. We'll finish this class. Cross your left knee over your right. Take your left arm out. Look over at the left arm and rock your knee. Now, the most important thing when you come out of this is pull that left hip down. Do not raise the knees. If you raise the knees, you're going to stress your back out. Let's do one more. Rock the knee, reach that opposite hand out, look over there. And then to come out of it, pull that hip down to the bed and switch sides. Cross left over right. Arm is out. Rotate and stretch. Pull the hip down to come out of the stretch for one more. Reach that hand. Control. Use those obliques by pulling the hip down and stretch. Go ahead and give yourself a nice little butterfly stretch. Hold that there. Excellent job. I hope you're able to keep up with the class. The great thing about videos is if you have to stop and grab a mat or a sweat towel, you don't have to do what I do and kind of go off camera. Reach both your arms out and just hold that there. Keeping your core set engaged. Let's breathe 5 times through our costals, through our ribs. Keep your belly flat as best you can. Feel a little bit of breath in your lower back and your ribs. Keep your tummy from lifting. 2 more. Feel that stretch. You can really stretch your wrist if you want. 2 more. And last one. Close your knees, bring your arms together. Come on up, and you're all done. Thanks so much for joining me for today's class. Hopefully you can walk the next few days and try it again with or without those ankle weights in the beginning, and adjust your spring tension. And I want you to come back and do this class again, because I want you to start seeing your strength develop from both the heavy lunges, the standing lunges, and the standing floor splits. So when I first started doing this, and today I did 2 red and a blue, and that was tough for me. But to teach myself the proper mechanics, I started at 1 red, and that was tough way back. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago is when I started doing the standing floor split series. And it takes a while to build that lateral hip, because the only thing I was really doing for lateral hip strength was skater and standing side splits. And neither of those times was I doing really, really heavy springs. I still don't do heavy springs on standing side splits on the reformer, but with the vertical foot bar, you'll see in some of my classes that I'll do heavy spring tension on the skater series.